Hello friends, today's topic is stealing from my mom. Let's rant.
This is part one of I stole my mom's food stamp card because we were hungry. Now, if you've been following my videos, you know that I'm just going through telling stories of things that happened in my life growing up. And so I thought I'd share this story with you as well. So I was probably about in fourth or fifth grade when this happened. So if you've been following my stories previously, we now moved out of the shelter and my mom got Section 8 housing. And with the Section 8 housing, we were able to move into the projects. We moved into the Oak Brook projects, if you know the hometown that I used to live in. So just a little back context. My mom was really, when we moved into the projects, this was a time where she was addicted to rugs at her highest peak. So, and just to paint the picture for you, so in the projects, we lived in the middle of the block, and about 6 doors up was the rug dealers who used to supply her. So, if you saw the movie Friday and the way Felicia used to look in the movie, running up and down the street, looking crazy, that was my mom. So when I talk about the level of humiliation and embarrassment, like I was a little girl and I used to sit in the window and just watch her run out the door, and she would just run up the street, just looking a mess, whatever she had that she could sell, or, you know, whatever she could get from them until she got her welfare check to pay them back. It was just a mess. So, you know, when I tell you the level of humiliation, like everybody and their mom used to be outside. So my friends, the neighbors, the parents, everybody in that area of the projects knew that my mom was addicted. Everybody knew. It was beyond embarrassing. So, when my mom couldn't get her fix, she would sleep. And now, so I found the food stamp card. And the only thing I could think of was going to the store. Now, keep in mind, I'm only in like the fourth grade. So my sister's probably in second grade at the time. So we go to walk in town to the nearest market. When I tell you, imagine your second and fourth grader walking, I don't even know. It probably took an hour and a half to get there. So you can imagine how far that was. I could not imagine allowing my kids to walk that far. Like, no way. However, she was asleep and I needed to feed my sister and myself. So we walk all the way in town and we get to the market. So we go in the market, and when I tell you, baby, I got a cart, you would have thought I was grown. I got a cart. We going up and down the aisle to aisle to aisle. I'm, putting stuff in the cart, milk, cereal, eggs, cheese, bread, the necessities. Now, from what I can remember, I know that I got at least $200 to $250 worth of groceries. I mean, I'm in there going ham in the grocery store. And then at the same time, I knew how to cook a little bit, so I was still getting things that I knew that I could cook, especially like lunch meat and stuff like that. So we get up to the cashier, and I'll never forget it. I remember she must have been looking like, y'all look little. And I'm talking about I had a whole cart full of groceries. So she's ringing us out. And you know me, at this point, I'm hyped because I'm like, we about to get all this food, whoop-de-whoop-whoop. So she tells me the total. Let's just say she says the total is $250. I hand her the food stamp card. I put the pin in because my mom has the same pin. She keeps the same pin for everything. So I put the pin in. She's like, the card's declined. So I'm like, there's no way. Because mind you, she got the food stamps yesterday. So in my mind, I'm not thinking she had that much time to sell the food stamps that quick. So I'm like, there's no way. I was like, run it again. So she runs the card again, decline. So now at this point, water's filling up in my eyes. I'm ready to cry. So I asked her, could she run it for the third time? So she runs the card and it says decline. So it's saying decline. Not that I'm not putting the PIN number in right. It's declining because there's no balance. So context, the manager of the market's name is Tom. Now, if you follow my previous stories, the apartment that we used to live in that we got evicted out of, that ended up in the shelter, was down the street from this market. So we shopped at this market, and the manager, Tom, of the market knew who we were. So he comes to the front and he's like, what's going on? She calls him and he comes to the front. He's like, what's going on? And she tells him like the card is declined. So he's looking and he's like, where's your mom? And so at this point I'm crying. And I'm just like, my mom's been asleep. And he knew my mom was an addict. I'm like, my mom's been asleep. She's been asleep for 2 days. I'm like, we don't have no food. Like, we're hungry, and at this point I'm crying. Clearly he looks at the cart and he can see that I have like the necessities in there. So he knows I'm not lying. You know what I mean? And I'm crying and I'm just like, we're hungry. Like, we don't have no food. Like, I got to feed my sister. Like, my mom is sleeping. She's been sleeping for 2 days, whoop-de-whoop-whoop. When I tell you, he looks at the cashier and he says, bag up the groceries. When I tell you, I must have stood there and cried so bad. I must have cried so bad. So she's bagging up the groceries. And so he says, he's like, I'm going to take the card, but you can have the groceries. So I'm cool because I'm like, we got food, whoop-de-whoop-whoop. Whole time, I'm not even thinking how we going to get the food home. So I take the cart and we go outside. Now, if you know the supermarkets, how they are like in the front, they have the bars there so you can't steal the shopping carts, right? Now, mind you, there used to be hacks that would line up in front of the grocery store. This is way before Uber, Lyft. There would be people outside of the grocery store that you would pay them and they would drive you home. Same thing as Uber and all that. So there was this brown station wagon outside. And so at this point, I go up to the guy and I just tell him, which is crazy, these little girls, and I'm asking this guy because by all means necessary. So I said to the guy, and I'm crying and I'm just like, I don't have any money, but can you take us home? I can give you some groceries or, a pack of meat. So at this point, a whole long lost cousin, she comes outside. I'll never forget. And she's just like, what are you doing? And I'm like, my mom's been asleep. And, people knew my mom was a what. So she's like, I'm like, my mom is asleep. I got these groceries. Like, we got to get home. So the hack is like, you know what? I'll take it and I'll take you home. Baby, when I tell you, Christ has always had his hand and shield of protection on me. The things that I had to endure and the things that I've done since I was a little girl, like I had to be grown since I was like 6, but we made it. I did what I had to do to take care of my sister. I did what I had to do to feed us. I wish life would have been different, but it wasn't. My cousin got in the hack with us and the hack drove us home to the projects, and I was able to feed us for however long the groceries lasted. So that is my story time on how I was literally in the 3rd or 4th grade and I stole my mom's food stamp card to get us groceries because my mom was an addict and we had no food.
This story is crazy like wow. Comment down below, tell me what you think, and thank you for your time.